First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to come out here and learn about solar and see how we helped this business out with solar. And this presentation is mostly focused on commercial businesses. I know some of you may have farms. This isn't really geared towards that. A lot of the same things, but if you have a farm, you have more questions, talk to me about. There's some things that I'm not going to have time to talk about on here. First of all, a great fact, enough sunlight falls on the Earth's surface each minute to meet the world's energy demands for an entire year. That's the resource, that's what we have access to. Why should you go solar? Why should I care about solar panels up on my roof? Well, do you pay an electric bill? You can break free from your increasing electric rates. Second one, like that last slide showed, sun produces more than we can use. We just need to harness it. And it's a strong investment. Payback runs between 5 to 10 years generally. Electric rates. What have your electric rates done in the last 3 years? Probably increased. What do you expect in the next 3? Lower or higher? Some things to think about. You have the opportunity to set your electric rate now for 25, 30 years minimum. So that's something to think about during this presentation. I'm going to talk a little bit about incentives and some of the things that make solar feasible and that make it the investment that it is today. I'm just going to go over these real quickly on this slide, and then I'm going to go through in more details on other slides. First we have the PA Sunshine Grant, which is a check you receive after the system's installed from the state. Then we have the federal income tax credit, and that's actually a grant if you start construction this year. We have bonus depreciation, 100% bonus depreciation. Basically, you can depreciate your entire cost basis the year it's placed in service, if you place in service this year. Okay, that does expire at the end of the year. Production incentives, of course, you have your electric savings, which is why you want to put solar in, right? And you have your energy credits. And I'll explain that in more details as well. So the Sunshine Grant for residential, 75 cents a watt, ends up being about 12 to 15% of your total cost. And then for commercial, it's 50 cents per watt, which is approximately 10% or just a little bit more of your total cost generally. The federal grant, the law was designed as a tax credit, extended to be a grant if work is started on the project this year. So if you start construction this year, you're eligible to apply for that 30% payment, 30% of your total cost payment from the federal government. 100% bonus depreciation. You can depreciate 100% of the cost basis for your system this year if it's placed in service by the end of the year. Basically, you can expense all of it. Technically, it's not expense, it's depreciation. Some of you may understand that better, but you can have most of the money you put into the system can be taken off your income taxes, taken off your income balance sheet. What about all the paperwork? Of course there's a lot of paperwork with this, right? And that's what we take care of for you guys. We have an office crew that does that. We take care of all the paperwork so that you can relax and enjoy your energy independence. Electric savings, a little bit about how your utility is going to handle it when you put a solar system in. They're going to have a meter that's going to spin both ways. It's going to spin like it normally does if you're using power, but if you have a sunny day and there's plenty of sunshine on the roof and your solar panels and you're not using much electricity, you're basically going to be shipping power back out in the lines, and your meter is going to spin backward and give you a credit. If you have an overproduction in a month, say from the 1st of the month to the 31st, you produced more power from your panels than you used. They can only charge you a minimum meter charge and a demand charge for commercial. They cannot charge you for any usage. Overproduction. If you overproduce in 1 month, that's going to show as a credit on your statement, and it's going to be carried over to the next month's bill and be a credit on the next month. That credit can continue to be carried forward until the end of the year, and that end of the year isn't necessarily December 31st, but that is a once a year payment, maybe different times for different utilities. At that time, if you're showing a balance, if you're showing you produced more than you used, the utility is required to pay you for that overproduction at the wholesale rate, or the price to compare. On your electric bill, you may be able to see it says price to compare. That's what they pay you. They don't pay you, if you overproduce, they do not pay you what you pay for electricity, but it would be a bit less. More or less, it'd be their cost to buy it or their cost to produce electricity. SRECs. SREC is a word we use a lot. It stands for Solar Renewable Energy Credit. Those are completely separate from your electric savings. An SREC is simply proof that you produce green energy. It's not something tangible. It's more or less proof that you produce green energy, and somewhat of a commodity trading market. And the utilities are required by state law to buy these credits to comply with law, and every year they're required to buy more than the year before. If they don't comply, if they don't buy enough credits, they have to pay a penalty. So that's just a brief introduction to that. A little bit about what a credit is. You can measure it. One energy credit is 1,000 kilowatt hours of electricity, which we measure on each of our systems with a meter that'll measure strictly what comes off of the system. And we actually have one upstairs for this system if you want to look at that. Current market price for one energy credit is in the $150 to $200 range here in Pennsylvania. Right now we can get more than that because we can sell into some other states. I won't get into that in detail now. Compare that to your electric bill, it'd be 15 to 20 cents per kilowatt hour. So with the current rates, your energy credit income will be even higher than your electric savings. So if you save $300 a month on your electric, you might be making $400 a month on your energy credits. These credits need to be sold through a broker, which we offer, and most of our customers are having us broker the credits for them. We sell them on a quarterly basis. And there's also contracts available for energy credits. If you say, hey, I need to know to make this work for my finances that I'm going to be getting at least this much, there are options for contracts. That's not something we do as a company, but we partner with other companies to offer that. Here's just an example of the dollar amounts and how a commercial system might work. Just for reference, the system on this building is 120 kW. Pretty much powers the historical use of electricity in this building. You look at initial cost for a 100 kW system, maybe around $460,000. Pennsylvania Sunshine Grant would be a check you receive after it's installed for $52,500. Federal tax grant, once again, you'd be receiving that. That's actually wired into your bank account. Once again, around 2 to 4 months after completion. That would be $138,000. And then the depreciation. And I want to explain a little bit about this. I have it there as $78,000. That's going to vary according to your income for the year. I'm assuming a 20% tax rate for that number. If you have a very profitable business, you might save more than that. If you have a farm, you might not see any of that. That's sort of an estimate. And a tax accountant would be able to help you out and explain, probably what you could see for your company. So essentially, you can depreciate the entire system the year it's placed in service instead of spreading it out over the next 5 years. Once again, that's only if it's placed in service this year. Okay, so assuming all those things, we end up with a net cost of $191,300. Given that net cost after our rebates and tax credits are back, your yearly electric savings at 13 cents a kilowatt hour, which is very normal here in PP&L area, you'd save around $15,600 on your bill per year. And given the current prices on the credits, figuring on the low end, $150 per credit, you'd be seeing $18,000 a year in income from that. That gives us an expected system payback of 5.7 years, which is calculated out as a percentage per year, 17.5%. Now, I did not calculate into this any interest you're paying over the time of construction for the loan or anything like that. Just so you're aware of that. This is a basic simple rundown of how that would work. Compare that to what you can get at a CD in the bank. Quite a bit different. Why Paradise Energy Solutions? Why, if I install a solar system, why should I choose Paradise Energy? I'd like to answer that question in the next few slides. One thing we do that none of our competitors do is we offer a performance guarantee. Actually, we include a performance guarantee with every project. When we give you a quote for your project, we have an estimated production, And if you install that system, that is a guaranteed production for the first 2 years. If your system does not produce that, we're going to pay you the difference of your electric rate. So we want to make sure you have some kind of guarantee that you know this is going to work. And you know that what we guarantee we are going to stand behind for that first 2 years. Employee training, everyone on our installation team as well as our sales team has completed a 60-hour solar design course. It's design and installation. We want to make sure that every project is installed with quality and all our workforce is knowledgeable. So that's why we've taken that approach. In fact, some of our crew, our installation team is here today if you want to meet some of them. We are the grant experts. We do stay up to date on the latest grants and you know, we want to make projects feasible for you. We don't just want to sell you a system. We want you to be happy after it's installed 1 year, after it's installed 5 years, 10 years, and 30 years. And we want to make your project work for you. Just one example, this is a USDA grant for farms that we do. That is, I didn't go over that in the payback at all. You know, it's up to additional 25% towards your total cost. That's not a guaranteed grant, it's a competitive grant that we do sometimes as well. We want to be sure you're getting the grants you're eligible for. Product quality. We want to make sure all the products we have going in are something we can stand behind and we know the manufacturer is going to stand behind. We use American and European or German panels. We're committed to quality installation on every project, even if it's initially a greater cost for us. There's a lot of products out there, and there's some that we don't feel comfortable installing, even though they're going to be a little bit less money. A little bit about recent technology, the N-phase microinverters. What the inverter is on a solar system is it changes the DC power from the panels to the AC power from your grid. Makes it compatible with your street power is what it does. Generally inverters, you have a string of maybe 40 to 50 panels going to one inverter. What the N-phase microinverters do is they're installed directly underneath each panel, and we actually have them on the roof here. Each panel is wired directly to its own inverter. What that does is it maximizes the output of each panel. Normally you have a lot of panels more or less daisy chained together, you could say. If one gets shading, it knocks down the power production of 10 of them. What the microinverters do, if one gets shading, it affects only that panel. And another thing that we have with the microinverters is web-based monitoring. You can monitor each individual panel. And you can actually see that on the screen upstairs for this system. There's 504 panels up on the roof, and you can see what each one of those panels is putting out right now. And just for your information, that screen is not connected to a local network to monitor that. That's all through the internet. Basically what you see on that screen there can be accessed anywhere you have internet in the world. This is a picture of the system up on the roof here. Picture is taken from the east end, which is the side over there. Picture taken this way. You can see how it's laid out there, and if you look on the online monitoring, you're going to see the correlation. It's laid out the same way. And this is just another picture of a ground mount we did on a farm. Just because you don't have the roof space for a system doesn't mean solar won't work for you. Just want to make you aware of that as well. Just to summarize, you can reduce or eliminate your electric bill. And I want you to remember three numbers: 10%, 30%, and 100%. You can get 10% in a check from the state, 30% from the federal government. That's all for your initial cost. And you can depreciate 100% of your system for commercial projects if installed this year. And then of course remember the SRECs that we talked about. Compare what you saw here with other investments. It's one of the best investments out there. That's all I have for the presentation.